Shitoryu Karate, and today in this episode we will be talking about Mae Geri, or also known as the karate front kick. So what is a Mae Geri or a front kick? In other martial arts style, they also have their own version, like in Muay Thai or kickboxing. But in this episode, you will be seeing how karate's Mae Geri is somehow different from those by discussing about its execution. Also, we will be discussing about how can we apply the Mae Geri or the front kick of karate in different situations or in real life situations, especially if we're trying to defend ourselves on the street. Okay, so I hope you'll enjoy this episode. Let's start first with how will we execute Mae Geri or perform Mae Geri or the karate front kick. So let's try to divide the movement into 3 parts, then afterwards 2 parts, then we're gonna mix it all up and make it one whole technique. Okay, so let's try this one. Okay, so usually we would assume a fighting stance. Well, we can either start with a fighting stance like this one, or we can just assume like a normal stance, especially if we're on the street and you know, we don't really have to start with the fighting stance immediately, especially if a sudden attacker would go against us, right? Okay, so first, the first part is how will we try to raise our leg? Okay, well, before all of that, let me demonstrate to you what the front kick or Mae Geri is. Okay, so from this position, the target is either the head or the body, so plexus, or even the knee of the opponent. Okay, so here's the Mae Geri. Okay, so I'm gonna target the body. So again, that is Mae Geri. Okay, now how did I perform it, or how would a karateka would perform it, regardless of the karate style that he's currently practicing or so forth. Okay, so first we have to know how will we raise the leg. Okay, so usually, well, we know the body mechanics, right? So we can start by moving our leg like this. If I'm on the side, it's gonna be like this, right? But try not to straighten this feet immediately, okay? Or put it in this kind of position. Just relax. So it's just like, you know, hopping, but it's more exaggerated, okay? So we'll start with this part, okay? So that will be count number 1. So we raise it just like this. Other side is gonna be just like this. So we raise. That's it, right? So we raise. Okay, and if we're on a fighting stance, so we're on fighting stance, we can raise it like this. Or on the other side, it's going to be like this. So you just try to raise it as fast as you can. So it's like adapting to the reflexes of your body, or adding into the reflexes of your body, right? That would be count number 1. Count number 2 is from this position. So after raising this one, we just move it according to our body. So if you raise it, then raise it as high as you can. Okay? And to maintain the balance, I'd like to add a tip there. You don't really need to straighten the other leg. So you can make a slight bend to it to maintain the balance. So you'll notice on my end or on my side, when I raise this one, then raise this, you'll see a slight bend on my standing leg, right? Or if it's on the other side, so I raise this one, you'll see a slight bend on this standing leg, right? Now, if you're trying to practice this one, try as much as possible, right? Because we're not perfect. Try not to move the feet. If you're seeing my feet here, if you're seeing my feet, so when I raise this one and slightly bend, try not to move it outward. So just as much as possible, maintain your feet this way, or try positioning it in a sense that it's pointing forward. Okay? So that would be the second part of the cake, right? So first we raise, then we do the chamber by raising the knee as high as you can. Because especially if your target is the head, the higher the knee, the better it is. Because if it's just like this, most likely you'll be targeting just the kneecap of your opponent or just the body. But if you're trying to raise it as high as you can, you'll have more range of motion, you'll have more option of targeting the head of the opponent. Okay, so again, first step would be raise it to the back of your body, then chamber the leg towards your chest, or as much as possible towards your chest. So from this side, if I'm standing, I just raise this one, then raise to this part of my body. Okay, and I have a slight bend on my standing leg, if you notice, to maintain the balance. On the other side, so I raise it here, then I raise it here. There's a slight bend on my standing leg here. And you're trying to feel the contraction on your core. So there's a contraction on your core when you're trying to raise this one. It's not just like this and this. You're trying to engage your core. Why? Because this is where the third part of the Mae Geri or the technique comes in. Okay, so first part or count number one would be this. Count number two, you raise it as high as you can as you engage the core. Then from this side we execute it directly. Okay, so the third part of the cake is after we raise it from this side, then second part would be raising it to the chest level. Third part would be actually executing the cake. So as I told you earlier, you have to engage the core, right? That means you're trying to flex the muscles so that you generate enough power to deliver the kick, right? So when you raise this one, then raise it to this part. As you engage the core, you deliver the Mae Geri or the front kick. So the power will come from the core and the hips as well. Okay. So for this position, if we are just standing, so step number one would be raising the leg. Step number two would be shivering the leg to this part of our body or to chest level. Then as we contract the core, we're going to utilize the hips as well. So the part number three will be actually delivering the kick towards the target. And the part of the body that will be hitting the target will be the ball of the foot. So this part of the foot that we have. So step number one will be here. Step number two will be here. Step number three is delivering it as we contract the core. We also utilize the hips. Okay, so that's three parts. So again, let's try it. So from this position, we raise, then chamber, then we execute the kick. Okay, so from this side, it's going to look like this. Raise, chamber, then kick. Or from this side, it's going to be like this. So we raise, then chamber. So raise, chamber. Then as we contract our core, we utilize the hips. So okay, again. So raise, chamber, then. Okay, so that's the front kick. Now, how will you apply it in a real life situation? So, for example, someone is trying to attack you or move towards you. So you can stop an attack by targeting the kneecap. So from a fighting form or from a normal stance, if you're going to target the kneecap, stop the motion towards you. So deliver it like this. Or your other leg would be like this. If you're gonna target the solar plexus, if the opponent is open or guardless, then you can just do it like this. Or same goes with the head. Now, there are different variations of Mae Geri. One would be the Tobi Mae Geri or the jumping front kick. So, how will you do it? It follows the same principle, but you just have to deliver it when you're above the ground or you're on a jumping motion. So, I would usually do it like this. So, for this position, I'm on the fighting form. I would step my kicking leg. So, for example, if you're going to use your right leg, you're going to step first with your right leg. So, backward. So, from the fighting form, you step with your right leg. Then, as you step with your right leg, all your force will be on your right leg as well. All your weight will be on the right leg. Then, this leg would raise you above the ground. So, fighting form, step, right? Then, as you flex the muscle on your right leg, you tend to jump on the air, and that's where you deliver the Mae Geri using the kicking leg. So, how do you do it? So, in this position, we step, then we jump, then we deliver the kick. So, it's going to look like this. So, again, from this position, we step. We put all our weight on the kicking leg, then we raise our bodies above the ground, then we deliver the kick. So, okay, step, then. That's one of the variations of Mae Geri, which is also known as Tobi Mae Geri. So, you can target the solar plexus or even the chin of your opponent. So, again, step. Another variation of Mae Geri would be, let's say, what we call the question mark Mae Geri. I would personally call it like the question mark because you're trying to fake a Mae Geri by performing Mawashi Geri, or also known as a roundhouse technique, towards your opponent, but redirecting it to Mae Geri. So how do we do it? So from this position, I would try to fake a roundhouse by doing this motion. But as the opponent tries to guard his side, because he would assume that it's a roundhouse or a Mawashi Geri, I would divert the leg and make it a Mae Geri instead. Because usually if the opponents would guard their side, their center line would be open, right? So if I deliver it, it's going to be like this. So, one. Then, I just pivot this knee. Then, perform the Mae Geri. So again, I perform a fake roundhouse. Then, do a Mae Geri. So it's gonna look like this. So if you're on a fight, so again, so those are just some of the variations of Mae Geri we can actually play with if we're on a real life situation, if we're on a street, or if we're joining a tournament. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and just try practicing if you're an advanced practitioner of karate, or if you're a beginner. Try practicing the basics of Mae Geri because it will really be useful against street attackers actually, and even on tournaments if you want to pursue practicing karate in a sports fan. Okay? So again, this is Jodz of Shitoguy Martial Arts, and have a great day.